There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our August edition of our Blinded by Bourbon tasting. My name is Evan. With me is Harmony. And I guess you better pin it there. There you go, Harmony. And we've got Cam sitting in with who's just going to be hanging out, and Marnie from Kensington Wine Market as well. Hopefully you guys have your drams poured. We did number them, so hopefully you guys can figure out what the order is. We're not going backwards from 8 to 1. We're going from 1 up to 8. And we'll do the lightning round to start, which we do a lot of the time, where we just run through and give our tasting notes and comments on everything. You guys are welcome to chime in as well as we're going through with your own ideas and comments. If you have any guesses on what the bourbon might be, feel free to jump in with that as well. The lineup, as always, was put together by Harmony and I with sort of like an eye towards hopefully showcasing stuff that's relatively new in some cases, but also stuff that we were excited to try ourselves. So let's just start in with number 1. So we don't even have the ABV listed on here. So we'll try and figure that out or give an idea of what it might be as we go along, but you guys can chime in as well.
I'm sure Cam is thinking this one really smells like bourbon.
That's right. And he's probably not wrong.
Yeah.
Does have a nice wood and sherry note to it for me.
Yeah, lots of wood and quite a bit of like that toasty vanilla oak on there.
Yeah. Something almost like yeasty or beer driven in style too, where it's almost like an amber ale that I'm getting on the nose for some reason.
Oh, cool.
A little bit floral. Jeff is guessing it's 40% alcohol or greater. Yeah, I'll give you that one, Jeff. You're probably right.
Good guesses so far.
Yeah, maybe we put an amber ale in here though. You never know.
That would be funny, especially because we poured these like a month ago. It's going to be really dead.
It knows it's like really flat beer. Teresa is getting something slightly tannic or lightly tannic. Yeah, I can see that. Maybe a little bit leathery.
Oh, the palate is like driven with like cinnamon.
Oh yeah.
I like cinnamon hearts, kind of muted.
A little bit of like mint or menthol in there, or something cooling.
Definitely.
Yeah, now going back after tasting it, you can get that like cinnamon heart note on the nose as well. Yeah, Cam's audio unfortunately is not working, so he'll just hang in the background there with us.
Or at least that's what he says.
Jay says, yeah. Jay says going 45-ish on the alcohol, tastes a little young. Teresa was getting something almost rye-esque, maybe a higher rye mash.
Yeah, I would agree with her there. There definitely tastes like there's some rye in here.
The spice definitely makes me think that for sure.
Even the menthol for me often leads me to think there's rye.
Yeah, it does have even a bit of that, like the menthol that I was talking about, even a bit of a citrus note in there. Still big on the cherries. Jay's thinking maybe 4 grain. Cool. Well,
Very
whatever
tasty.
it is, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I'm happy. This is a great start to the evening for sure.
There's Sammy.
Oh yeah. He was glad the packing list wasn't very long. He's like, maybe I can sneak in.
Yeah, Sammy, at least pretend you're working every now and then while you're listening to this. Okay, let's try number 2. A little bit more furniture polish on the nose for me versus number 1. Like really polished wood.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as expressive as the first one.
And I should say too, and because I did just dive into things here. So typically the way we run these blind bourbon tastings is we do run and taste through everything once quickly, essentially, and then keep some in your glass as we're going along though, because we will return and go through it again for the reveal and maybe see if anything's changed in our thoughts after doing the first vote.
The nose is nice
Maple
though.
cherry. Yeah. Canadian Whiskey Smith, Teresa says some sort of maple cherry on the nose. I'm still getting that big cherry note. I agree on that. Much tastier than number one, Adam says.
I think it's hotter too, right?
It does have more spice coming through.
Oh yeah,
Whereas the palate tasted like cinnamon hearts, this one has the spice of cinnamon hearts for me.
I'm also getting like a dried plum or like even a raisin a little bit on this.
Yeah, something more on the red or purple fruit side of things.
Yeah,
Sharper for sure than number one, Teresa says. Still getting a little bit of that beery, mashy funk on the nose for me.
yeah.
Like you're walking past the fermenters or the mash tuns.
A little bit of that like sweet tobacco and like honey.
Yeah, honey's a good call.
And the oak on the nose that I get on the finish, which is nice. Like it just kind of comes around and finishes with this nice soft vanilla oak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jay says he feels like he's had this one. Could be something you recognize.
Hopefully that's a good thing.
Yeah, I do like the nose on that quite a bit.
Yeah, it's
Going
different
back to
than I
the first
remember.
one, going back to the first one after that, and the nose is much more like earthy and potato skins driven, like pulling potatoes out of the ground.
More bready too, like those yeast notes you were talking about.
Jen says number two has a longer finish than number one. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, maybe it's some older stuff in here.
Yeah, very well could be. Well, let's try number three. Still the furniture polish on the nose for me on number three, but a little bit more floral and fruity than number one or number two. Corey and Jess say dill on one. Yeah, I could see dill on one.
Oh, I love this nose on this. This really wakes you up.
Yeah. It's like floral and a little bit waxy for me. Like an oak stave and then a vanilla candle that you've got side by side. Jay says bee wax.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good call.
I see that.
Good call.
Oh, the palate is hotter than the first two. It is big and spicy.
Yeah, that is big. Cucumber melon candle. That's a fantastic tasting note or nosing note. Sorry.
I would buy that candle.
Yeah. Teresa says something sour on the nose, not really citric, but just a big lemon note or lemon blossom. Yeah, I can see where you're going on that. It almost has like a slight like a shrub or vinegar-esque note to it.
Yeah, kind of like your dried herbs.
Yeah, or even going into like if you go to a barbecue joint or some sort of food joint and they've made their homemade or house-made pickles where it's just like a brine, a vinegar brine that they've got the cucumbers in. Jen's not sure this one's a bourbon. Well, we have been known to mess with you guys in the past, so you never know.
This tastes different than I remember.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I
Matt's
only
asking,
say that because I forgot to secret label this bottle
yeah,
on mine. So
Yeah.
I know what it was. So
man, Jay, you're gonna have to start doing these tastings because he's saying it tastes like a weeder, and without giving anything away, you might be right. Cam says tequila finish. I can kind of see where you're going with that. You're not too far off the mark.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Matt's wife asks, what does it mean if my mouth is hot? So that's going to be either the spice from the whiskey or the high alcohol from the whiskey, or a combination of both. Yeah. Jay's right. And it also means it's working.
but truthfully, he's not wrong. But also you'd want to be careful if it's an uncomfortable hot too, because if it is high alcohol, you can cook your taste buds early in the night. And if you want to move on to something else, it's not going to have the same expression and experience if you were to revisit it. So
that's why we will never start our blind bourbon tasting with an Octomore just to throw anybody off.
yeah.
I just added some water to number 3 just for kicks, and that lemon note that Teresa was mentioning, I think comes out a bit more.
I haven't added any water, but just like moving it around, I have this like nutty sarsaparilla.
Ooh, yeah.
Faintly on the nose.
It's like sarsaparilla where you get the earthy spiciness, but just with like a dash of cream soda for sweetness.
Right. Yeah. It's not a full on sweet sarsaparilla. It is definitely a more like earthy, old school style. Your barks has bite.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's try number 4. Now getting into the, I can't remember what is on this number is territory for me.
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh, that nose is like it's got some rye for me.
Yes. Yeah. I was
Going
gonna say
into lemon and lime jujube territory.
very cool.
Yeah. Teresa says rye dill. Totally agree.
Totally. It's dill all the way for me with like a
Yeah.
hint of parsley.
Yeah. Parsley is a good call for sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good nose.
Pardon me. I'm going to take out my aligners. I'm just going to camera off so I can get the mouth feel of this thing.
Sounds good. Yeah, Jay says definitely high rye. Lots of agreement on the dill note. Medicinal. Lemon balm is another good one. Even has like the slight waxiness of a lemon balm there. Minty.
It's a little soapy.
Yeah, soapy is a good call.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly herbaceous.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yes, I am, Shannon. I'm with you. It's got some savory like beets and that comes from the rye. I think there's definitely rye in here.
I'm gonna say rosemary as well on this one.
I like the Thrills gum comment.
Yeah,
It's
that goes along with the soapiness for sure.
Yeah, exactly right.
I hate Thrills gum.
Yeah, me too. It's one of those weird hate ones where it's like there's certain flavors where you like taste it and then it's like, what the hell did I just taste? And then you forget about it and then you like pop another Thrills gum like without even thinking. I was like, oh, why did I do that again?
And you've just got a really hard piece of gum in your mouth.
Yeah. It
That's
doesn't
right.
last long.
Yeah, thank goodness it doesn't last long.
Cam, yes, this does not taste like a bourbon. This definitely tastes more like a rye.
Yeah, Teresa's going on a limb and saying Pennsylvania rye.
Oh, I think I know what this is. I'm remembering now. This is the
Mhm.
hard part about like when you know it's in the lineup, but you don't remember the order.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah, we're all down the rabbit hole right now.
Yeah, I like the finish on that. It's just like it's like nice
Yeah.
and warm.
But delicate. It's got a really
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay, when we're doing the reveal, you tell us what you think it is before we tell you, because I think you might be right too. I think you're pretty astute based on your notes so far. Number
Right.
5.
Yeah.
What do we got?
It's just like a waxy candy.
Oh yeah. But like Sharpie and shoe polish at the same time for me.
Totally. Like you're eating candy while polishing your Sunday shoes.
That's right.
We're sucking a Sharpie.
Yep.
What are you trying to bring it back to life? What are you? I get one.
Wow,
where
this
you
is going to
said
go off the rails fast if we keep this up.
This is a very pretty nose.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's floral and fruity.
Yeah, a little bit of epoxy glue in there too.
And Evan's also a woodworker.
Hmm.
Stays off. Or you just say very floral, all roses. I could see that.
Maybe there's only 4 roses though. There's not all roses.
This it also has like a little vegetal note there too, just like
Yeah.
leaves and grass.
Totally. Yeah, the leaves note, it's like the falling leaves in the fall.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Teresa says herbal. I was thinking the same thing, almost into like fresh basil territory, a little bit of oregano even.
And the palate is quite drying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A lot of that oak and tannin influence.
It's not as hot, but it does remind me of if you've ever had like a oregano oil to try and solve a coughing or sore throat issue. It does have a little bit of that on the palate for me.
Hmm.
And now I want pizza. I'm not sure why. Yeah, that herbaceousness is really cool.
Yeah, Ruth says more cinnamon hearts here, just the hints of it.
Well, before we go on to number 6, I'm just going to nose through that from 1 to 5 again, just for kicks.
Starting with 1.
Yeah, 1 is almost into maple syrup whiskey territory right now for me.
Totally.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it'd be good on pancakes.
Yeah,
2 to me hasn't changed a whole lot. It's still very good.
it's more cherry pronounced for me right now, like going into Twizzlers and Nibs territory.
I don't know why, but I often struggle with that note. Like
Mhm.
I find if I find cherry in a bourbon, it's full on cough syrup
Yeah,
or nothing.
actually, so this isn't into candy territory. It's like cherry certs where it's like chalky and cherry note at the same time for me right now.
Okay.
And a little bit of grape powder, like the little lickums sticks, the dipsticks that you used to get, like it's the
Yeah.
purple grape one on the nose right now for me too.
Going into the 3rd one, it's very like soda pop-ish to me, like
Oh
sweet
yeah,
and creamy and
it's almost into like just the soda syrup.
yeah, Yeah, it's very syrupy.
This is like you were like changing the bag of Sprite that goes into the pop gun, and the bag punctured.
It's so citrusy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Almost like your pop is flat and it's tomorrow and it had heated up because you were camping and you left it on the
Yeah.
picnic table.
getting a bit of a dill note on there now too. Along with that, it's almost like the dill and garlic brine, like in the jar of pickles after you've gotten all the pickles out. It's the garlic that's been brined along with it. I'm totally craving pizza today. I don't know why.
I was
Just
craving
going
pizza this
oregano and
morning.
garlic and yeah.
Robin, I think I told you on the walk to work I wanted pizza.
Yeah. What do you get on number 4?
More vegetable garden.
Yeah. Even into like a vegetable soup territory, a canned vegetable soup.
But not tomato.
No.
No.
Actually, I think there are tomatoes on there, but it's like the
Tomato vine.
concentrated canned tomato like note.
Yeah.
Jay says musty dill.
Yeah.
Okay, back to number 5. Yeah, still in epoxy and Sharpie territory.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Almost
there's
going into
something
rum-esque,
else.
yeah, territory for me.
What are you getting, Marnie?
Oh, it's just so herbaceous, like
Hmm.
and it's hot.
It smells like when we order our gift baskets and they're the wicker ones, but you open up that cardboard
Yeah.
box and it has wicker baskets in it.
It's the palate is like you're chewing on a mostly like an already used tea bag of peppermint tea, like where it's drying, but it's got that like super light pepperminty note to it as well. Teresa says it smells like Pier 1 imports.
Totally. That's where I was going.
That's
Yep.
a good call. Yeah.
Okay, let's now that we've gone back through those, let's go to number 6 now. Oh wow.
Erasers.
Potato skins, like the fried potato skins that you get at a bar.
Yeah.
It's so starchy on the nose right now for me.
Yeah, I get erasers, like the
Yeah.
red erasers.
It's also like just opening up a bag of like kettle cooked potato chips.
Oh no, and then I think that's from your lunch earlier. It might
Could be.
still be on your hands.
Could be. Yeah, maybe.
I get the potato call. It's like
Thanks, Marty.
peeling potato, like peeling potatoes. So that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, back from your army days.
Pretty much, yeah.
Matt says tobacco. Cam says nail polish. Very good notes. Teresa says candy corn. Rockets candy. Cool.
Totally, Jay. And it's old. It's old bubble gum.
Yeah, it's bubblegum, double bubblegum that's 10 years old, and you didn't pop the gum in your mouth. You accidentally popped the comic in your mouth.
I was gonna say the comic's now offensive and
Yeah,
inappropriate.
that's right. And still doesn't taste great.
Wow.
Ketchup on pasta.
Oh,
That's
gross.
awesome. That's my 4-year-old son would totally do that.
I mean, I guess it
I don't
goes.
think he hasn't improved. He hasn't found a food that isn't improved by dipping it in ketchup. So
Oh, I can relate to that actually. My cousins, like my mom's sister, married Hispanic, and so they grew up very diverse in their food enjoyment, where we were just like very meat and potatoes. And I remember one summer, my cousins all came over
Mhm.
and they said, did you know that like we refer to the Callahans as the farmer family, but we refer to you guys as the ketchup family? Like we just put ketchup on everything. I'll never forget that. I was like, well, excuse us for not having culture. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, I want to go back to, I look forward to revisiting, 6
Yeah.
and 7 again.
And I'm looking forward to the reveal because I can't recall what this one is at all.
Yeah. I moved on to 7 and it smells so fruity.
Oh yeah. Yeah, still a little bit starchy like number 6. Plantain chips for me on there. Shoe polish again.
Mhm.
Really toasty.
It's spicy. It's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Ooh, that's big.
Mm-hmm. I will be adding water probably to that later on, but I think just giving it some more time in the glass will be
Yeah.
good as well. But oh, that's fantastic. I like that.
Yeah, if this is what I remember it is, I'm both surprised and not surprised it's big at the same
Yeah.
time.
I can't feel my left eyeball.
You'll have to swallow your next sip on the other side of your
That's
mouth.
right.
Eh?
It is balanced though. It's yeah.
We'll have to put a warning label on this that says may cause partial face paralysis temporarily.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt's not sure if you can ever feel his left eyeball. Matt, I can't feel your left eyeball either, at least from here. Okie says Jay.
Mm-hmm. But I get cherry on this. Like I get the
Mhm.
Twizzlers and nibs on this one.
There's a lot of
Yeah, big time.
citrus peel on the finish. And
Yeah.
I know that can be confused with alcohol, but it's got a citrusy tone
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, it's almost like you're smelling the rim of a Negroni or an old fashioned in style, where you get the bittersweet liqueur in there as well.
Yeah.
7 is the one for Corey and Jess. They found a winner.
It's beautiful.
Strawberry citric. That's a cool note.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like going into like strawberry jam notes. Now that you say that, like unsweetened strawberry jam. Nosing it more, there's full on cinnamon stick on there, not cinnamon hard candies, just like a cinnamon
Like
stick that
dry
you pulled out of a
cinnamon
hot toddy.
stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is interesting because if it is what I think it is, I remember the initial pour of this being full blown cinnamon and
Yeah.
really fighting to find other notes to balance it out.
Yep.
So the evolution in just oxygen and time is really cool.
Pay attention.
A little bit of water and the nose gets more cinnamon driven, but it softens up a little at the same time in a really nice manner.
Yeah, Teresa says the creamy and then finish lingers into softness.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Cam says this one tastes like a bourbon. Cam, you won. Like you found the one bourbon we put in our bourbon tasting. Ooh, I'm looking forward to going back to that one. On to number 8. Ooh, this is more
like orange citrus peel.
totally.
Yeah. Vanilla.
Yeah, like full on peeling a navel orange.
Yeah, and gets right in your eye. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
It's
The
like
one you
just
can feel, the right eye, not the left eye, that you don't feel anymore, but the right eye where it stings. Yeah, that orange note is all over the place there.
It's a touch of oak, like nice fresh shaved oak in there.
Mhm. Touch of celery salt for me on there too. Matt's question, in terms of adding water, we usually drink bourbon neat, but there are some bourbons that are made with the intention of to add water, or is there an intention neat? White question. Jay, yes, we are on 8. Teresa agreeing with me on the celery, thank you. There's some whiskeys out there that are meant to, like, are made with the intention of cutting it down with water or even putting it on ice. And a lot of people, especially with bourbon, do drink it on ice. Tasting wise, I think it's always important to try it as is first. And that's so that you're on the same playing field as everybody else when you're making tasting notes and comments, but also it allows you to see what you feel it needs, because when tasting versus drinking is a very different experience. Like, if you're going to continue to drink something after tasting it, you want to have it at a level where you enjoy it. So if it needs water, you cut it down with water until you find it the most enjoyable. If you want to chill it with ice and dilute it that way so you can stretch the glass out, that totally makes sense too. There's no wrong answer to what you put with it. If you want to get a Pappy Van Winkle 23-year-old and add some Coke to it, that's, if you bought the bottle, that's entirely up to you as well. Hopefully it's like a really nice artisanal Coke, but I guess that's whatever you prefer.
It's the one with the polar bear on the bottle.
Yeah.
Right?
This seems like it's got a bit of rye to it as well, number 8.
Ooh,
Jay says this is 100% a rye.
Oh, spicy.
I like it. He's coming in
Drier
hot.
than I expected. I remember
Yeah.
what this is now, but my first time trying it.
Corey and Jess, Jess thinks 8 is lipstick on a palette. On the palette.
Yeah. Is that lipstick on the palate or by the palate?
On.
Yeah. Jay thinks he knows this one. I remember what it is. I would not have guessed it's this blind though, personally.
Yeah, it changed a lot again.
Yeah. Well, we'll go into it on the second go round on that. I quite like it though.
again, it's got an outstanding finish, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just
Oh,
how
totally.
how it plays on the palate is just beautiful.
Well, and the thing, Marnie, maybe you get this with wine as well. I'm going to ping here just so people can see it if you want to chat about it. But
Sure.
with whiskey, I've noticed a lot of whiskey recently where I nose and taste it, and then I go back to nosing it, and I get more on the second nosing after it's on my palate than I did the first time around.
Yeah, for sure. And that's I mean, that's a sign of complexity, right? And I imagine just like in wine, it's imperative for quality.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big part of quality. So as is finish, and that's amazing. Like some of these are going in so hot, and I way more wine than I do spirits for sure. But even that one's like, whoa, it's like mind-blowingly hot. And then it's so delicate. It's still going. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Well, that is the highest alcohol level of the night. Now that I recall what it is. It's got
a lot of dark fruit notes to it. Like moving
great
past all the cherry notes and strawberries that we've had, it's definitely in the darker.
Yeah.
Blackberry and
need Jeff to pipe in on this to tell me if I'm off my rocker, but it's almost like an Earl Grey tea, heavily steeped, meets like a lightly steeped licorice tea, stylistically.
Did Jeff just get here? Like, what's going on?
He was in here earlier.
I've seen like
he's been here for a while.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for backing me up on that, buddy.
Okay.
Okay, I'm 7 and 8 so far are really clicking for me. Let's
Yeah,
go back 8 to 1 just for kicks. And then I'll do the vote and before we do the reveal.
The
So back to
nose of
7.
8 has changed. I just put it down for a minute and
I know
cleaned my glasses, went back, and it's already changed.
it's like still developing, that one.
I get apricots.
Ooh, that's a good call.
I don't know.
Apricots, especially if you're talking about like in an Amaretto perspective, like where it's like peach pit and that stone fruit, like the stone note.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be the stone. I don't remember the last time I had a fresh apricot.
And number 7 is still getting that big celery salt note.
You get away into.
And 6 to me is like, it's got a
Oh, man.
Play-Doh undertone.
Yeah, that's coming out more. The like Play-Doh, plasticine, or like even like a modeling clay note.
Yeah. Very cool.
A soy sauce on number 7. That is a cool note, Corey and Jess. Unbaked peach cobbler, Teresa says for number 6. Yeah, I can see where you're going on that. It's like the aroma is trying to get out, but it's not like baked into everything yet. Even has the uncooked dough note in there with it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, number 5.
Oh my God. You guys are so fast.
We're just
Gorgeous.
nosing.
Yeah. It's like cherry candies meets those what are those the soft berry candies?
The Swedish berries.
Yeah, Swedish berries on the nose.
Oh,
With a touch of dill. 5's presenting as high rye, Teresa says now.
Yeah, but it's also like, what is that mixed bag of chips at Costco with like all of like, it's not the attractive bag of chips. It's like salty flavors. It's all like beets and turnips and,
Oh.
root stuff.
I don't think I've tried that one.
It's just like root vegetables cut up into
like
chips.
root vegetable chips?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, some people buy them, Jeff. I walk by and I get them as Vicky's, like salt and vinegar.
Yeah. Sometimes you want to buy potato chips, but pretend you're being healthy at the same time.
I look at that bag when I eat my like cheesies as I walk by.
Jay says 5 is his least favorite. Ooh, number 4
going
is
backwards. It almost tastes like water.
yeah.
You're tasting backwards too.
But wow. It's
Oh.
like,
Number 4 is into like chicken bouillon or chicken stock cubes notes for me.
why bouillon? Like, why not just good chicken stock?
Yeah, could be that. It's just very concentrated. Like it's like I'm almost nosing the MSG at the same time.
Yeah. Number 3 to me is like full on like Sprite 7-Up. Now it's like, it's so citrusy. And
Oh yeah. Like Sprite citrusy, but also just a little bit of elderflower in there as well.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, I get that.
Jen says 4 is almost gin-like.
Can't wait to find out what these are.
Yeah, this is right now the nose on number 3 is if you've ever had and maybe it's in my mind because I mentioned it on the last tasting, but King's ginger liqueur or Canton ginger liqueur mixed with Saint Germain, the elderflower liqueur.
Which one is that? Brie?
Yeah.
Oh, I totally can get that. Pretty, very pretty.
Yeah, Teresa, we'll leave it for people to guess on the reveal round, which will be up next after the vote.
Okay.
Jay, you don't even have to pour it. We poured it for you. It's number 3. It's just ginger liqueur plus elderflower. That's it. More traditional, like cherry notes on number 2 now for me. Yeah, very
Yeah,
fruity and
it's like
stuff.
a fruit roll up.
Yeah, fruit roll-up's a good call. Fruit roll-up dipped in strawberry yogurt.
Mm.
Back to number 1. So soft, number 1 now.
Even too soft.
Mhm. I agree, Marnie, too is quite soft.
Yeah.
Like going back, like, oh, it's like
Number
drink-
1 is cinnamon toast now, like
Ah,
white bread, toasted,
butter.
butter on it, and then cinnamon and sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay, I am sorry. I intentionally didn't tell you the rules, so you didn't get them all right, though. So my bad. Popeye cigarette on one, specifically Popeye brand, though, not Marlboros or Pall Malls.
It's got that chalkiness of a Popeye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just slight canned spinach note that Popeye cigarettes have.
I feel like somebody in Aaron's group may be agreeing. There was some laughter and finger pointing. Somebody may have said that in the background there.
Okay, well,
Taylor, getting them right.
Before we do the reveal, I will.
Pre-vote, blind vote.
Yeah.
One
And
that
this is
really
mostly
matters.
so that we can point and laugh when everybody changes their vote once they find out how expensive every bottle is. But it's always
just
fun
want to-
to vote blind and before you know what they are and see if your thoughts change once the reveal happens.
Yeah. It's unfortunate when you're in a group because you only get one vote. So
Yeah.
the first person to the clicker wins, I guess, or you do a group vote.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the nice part is like, do they get a first and a second pick in the blind round?
Yeah, they do.
And then they get a first and a second in the overall as
Yep.
well. So you could split it up maybe.
Yeah. So you can either, if you're doing this as a group, you can either take a consensus first, or you can just be the dictator that holds the mouse to vote, I guess is what it comes down to.
I'm gonna move the polls over in case there's any screen tackling. I don't want to miss
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Well, there definitely seems to be a no vote zone so far.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
yeah, yeah. What do you mean?
Kind of surprising to me that those are the ones not getting the votes, but I think there might be a pattern to that. Once we do the reveal, we'll have to
I
see.
just messaged you. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. We'll give you guys another, let's say 20 seconds, and then we'll shut the poll down. It looks like we've got 15 people that have voted so far. Well, the winner so far looks pretty interesting if you're combining the two polls together.
Oh, I haven't even looked down yet. Very interesting. Well, I mean, it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's share those results. So far between the two polls, number 1 gets 5, 2 gets 6, 3 gets 5, 4 gets 1, 5 gets 1, no votes for second place on 4 and 5. 6 gets a total of 5, 7 gets 2, and then 8 gets 7, which I believe is the winner overall.
Very cool.
Well, let's start the reveal. Okay, going back to number 1. So you can either type in what you think it is or some ideas of what you think it may be, and then I'll share the slide. For the bottles, of course, if you've done this before, you probably know the drill, but you can also see that there are 2 stickers on each one. If you can peel the top sticker off, it should reveal what the whiskey actually is. We have the actual information on the lower sticker that's covered. Jay's guessing Penelope white label on this one. That is a really good guess. It is not Penelope, but it's definitely got some similarities to it, I would say.
I was thinking
Teresa
Buffalo
was saying
Trace.
Buffalo Trace for number 1 on the first pass. It does have some similarities to that as well. Okay, well, I will share my screen and we'll look at number 1.
I would
So
say
it is Casey Jones, and this is our wheated bourbon. So those of you that mentioned wheaters, good call. So surprisingly, 55% alcohol on this one, although I don't feel like it shows that hot personally.
no, I think it's really balanced.
Yeah, there's lower alcohol whiskey in the lineup after this, including the next one actually. So from Casey Jones Distillery, not originally distilled at their stuff, but distilled to their specifications, including the mash bill, which is 2 different types of corn, including Bloody Butcher corn, 35% wheat, 12% malted barley on this one. They are now that they have installed new stills and bigger stills, distilling this and the rest of their whiskeys at their own distillery now.
In the comments, it says the label says 46. That's a lie. We are
it is
humans and we
55.
make human errors.
Yeah, that Evan makes human errors. Harmony's perfect.
No, definitely not. I didn't catch it, so that proves I'm wrong. I'm not.
Yeah.
But
So
Jay, you were right when you said it was a 4 grain. I know you were thinking Penelope, but you're still on the ball there.
That's right. So this is the old Casey Jones still, which square stills, they unfortunately they can do moonshine and a few other things. They can't really do, if I remember correctly, bourbon in it or a bourbon mash because it just burns. It doesn't cycle the way it should. This is their new square still, named after a gentleman named Casey Jones, who was a illicit still maker for people making moonshine and had a square style still that he used to produce on small scales for people. Oh, you got ahead of the game there. There's number 2.
Go back.
Yeah.
Nobody saw that.
So Ruth said Maker's Mark for number 1, and Maker's Mark again is a wheat mash bill. So that totally makes sense. I really like the stuff we've had from Casey Jones. They do some fantastic whiskey. And this is young. This is like 3 or 3.5 years old. They're going to get better with time.
Yeah. And I think this year, they just started producing their own spirit 100%. So they're not sourcing out anything further, which is really cool.
Means more control. Like, even though they were giving the specs and everything for distillation, they've got more control over the entire operation now, which is awesome.
Yeah, I also do love the new transparency on the labels. They're going to be putting most of their batch blending is done in a very small scale, 1 or 2 casks at a time. And they're going to start putting the specs of every barrel blended on the side of every label. And it's cool. I love that transparency.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to what they do. They've done some stuff where, like, the square still sounded like a gimmick to me, and there's something maybe a bit gimmicky to it, but they're regardless, they're making good whiskey. They also did one of the most gimmicky sounding bottles that I've seen and we brought in over the last couple of years with what
Yeah.
they call their double barrel or is it double cut, where it's bourbon blended with cane spirit, like spirit distilled from sugarcane. And it has like the perfect amalgamation of a rum meets a bourbon in a fantastic manner. It was one that I was so ready not to carry, and then we tried it. It was like, oh shit, this is good. That we're gonna have to bring it in, and it's sold really well so far too.
Yeah, I really like their double cut.
So Jay's asking, is Casey Jones MGP? I think they actually do put Kentucky on the.
They put Kentucky on one label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one is on the label. It says wheated Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So it is from Kentucky. Can't be MGP then.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2, I kind of spoiled. This is the first time we put this bottle in a tasting for a while, just because we don't get a lot of it. Adam's asking what the difference between regular Blantons and Blanton's Gold is. It is a little higher proof. They're both single barrel products. Blanton's was one of the, I think it was actually the first commercially available, like readily available single barrel bourbon on the market back in 1984. And I like putting it in every now and then because I really like to rail against Blantons. I'm not a big fan of it, of the concept. I find it just, I almost get annoyed as a seller that it's the whiskey that everybody asks for now. Do you have any Blantons? Do you got any Blantons? Where people will come out of the woodwork that have never been customers with ours and almost demand that they get a bottle because they're big whiskey lovers. And it's, unfortunately, we will never get enough to supply everybody with a bottle, and nobody does because it's so divvied up between different liquor stores and stuff. But it is nice to try it every once in a while and appreciate that it is a really good bourbon. I still don't think it's one of the best bourbons in Buffalo Trace's lineup personally, but it is good.
Yeah. I think it's approachable, and that's why people like it. It's that consistency. It's not as, I personally don't think it's as spicy and fruit driven as like the regular Buffalo Trace, but
yeah. Or like I prefer the Eagle Rare over it personally. H. Taylor's as well, typically, but it's still a nicely put together bottle, and it is a bottle that sort of jumps off the shelves based on its look. And I did a little mock-up of here of what the bottle should look like, in my opinion.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
It has become a unicorn since, I mean, it's since the US demanded that they get it. It used to be a solely, exported product. The US market never received any gold Blantons, but now they get it in exchange. We get half of the product and maybe one case of green label. So it's not a fair trade, but it is still on the market.
Yeah. So for those of you that are looking for a bottle of blends, we have kept a little bit back because of this tasting, because we were putting it in. I'm not in the store for the next couple of days, but if you are interested, email Harmony after the tasting, just say I would like a bottle. But we still don't have a lot. So if we get 30 people emailing me, well, you're gonna have to really learn to share, I think is what it comes down to. We definitely don't have enough bottles to divvy up. I think we've got a case and that's it.
Yeah. So if we do get more than what we have, I'll just do a random lottery and just let you know if it's available for you or not.
Yeah. Okay, back to number 3.
Oh,
Man, this nose is gone more into the citrus now for me.
It's been citrus for me this whole time.
This like I'm getting more tea notes on it. It's like a lemon zinger tea.
Yeah, which is interesting because I remember the first time we tried it, I was offended at how hot and big it was.
Mhm.
I said it was too much for this early in the day, and now it's like this is breakfast.
Yeah. Oh, it's so the nose is just gorgeous on this one.
So honeyed.
Yeah. Yeah. Lemon zinger tea with honey or neo-citronesque, let's say.
Canadian Whiskey Smith, you have this bottle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any guesses on this one? Jay says tastes weedy. Good call.
Yeah, good job, Jay.
It's really good. My husband is here next to me and he's chomping at the bit to say that the only whiskey, the greatest, what did he say? He's not a superhero, but John Wick only drinks Blantons.
Yeah.
The movie.
I mentioned that in the,
Oh,
I
no,
put
it
that
is.
in our web info, which we usually
Yeah.
have blocked because we don't even put blends on the web. We just don't get enough of it.
Oh,
But
there you go.
talking about how it's everybody loves it because it's John Wick and it looks like someone put a horse on top of a hand grenade, bottle wise. So
Oh, yeah. Okay, there you go.
Well, maybe they'll do like a John Wick version and put a puppy on it.
Well, like, you
nothing
can't
good's
mess
gonna happen to
with
that
his
dog though. That's the
or
problem.
his car.
Well, he's doing Japanese blended whiskey now, so
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, that makes sense.
Okay, so Teresa says
Oh.
maybe the triple mash. It does have that floral
It
quality of the
does.
triple mash for
not
sure.
enough licorice though.
Yeah, probably close to similar mash bill actually when it comes down to it too.
Yeah.
So this is one of the curveballs in the lineup, but we thought that it works just really well for what the bottle is and being in a bourbon tasting. So this is a Canadian whiskey made in Calgary from Bridgeland Distillery. This is their single cask of their wheat whiskey. So it's 80% red spring wheat, 20% malted barley. Now the barley just doesn't like show as much on that one. What does show really nicely though is that it is from a cask that once held Moscato brandy that was also made by Bridgeland. And man, that Moscato brandy cask has its DNA all over this in a massive way.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It gets better in the glass as it goes on, which is what you want in a whiskey. It's fantastic. Every time I try this, I like it more and more.
Yeah.
The price point's fantastic too, so which is wonderful because I don't think one bottle is enough.
Yeah, this is actually a bottle I haven't picked up yet that I need to because it's going to be one that I want to go back to in a couple of years to remember what we had.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
So yeah, Jay, this was a barrel pick that it almost wasn't a barrel pick. It was like Bridgeland Distillery. Andrew and I went over and they were like, "Here, you have to try this," and I was like, "Oh, okay, that is awesome stuff." Like, and then we ended up just splitting up the barrel with them. So they might be sold out at this point. I'm not sure, but they split it so that they were selling it in their tasting room at Bridgeland Distillery, and then we got half of it as well to sell at the shop. We still have bottles of it. Maybe they do as well, but man, like it is just one of those. We are so happy that they shared it with us more than anything else.
Yeah. I remember that day. I felt like a kid who got stood up. I was just standing around the store waiting to go. I got the email, "You want to come?" "Yeah, I want to come." And then I was like, "Where did they go?" "Oh, they left." I'm like, "They'll come back for me." And I stood on the front porch waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, sad music and then playing in the background. It started raining.
It was raining for sure. Definitely raining. My own little cloud.
That's right. Well, we picked this for you, Harmony.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
The guys at Bridgeland do such a great job. I love that while they wait for their whiskey, they make interesting things like grappa and Moscato brandy and
Yep.
limoncello and eau de vie, and they're not just putting out like 7 of the slightly different same gins or vodka. They're fantastic, and with their ancestry, you know, French, Italian,
Yeah.
their whiskey just goes with food. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, they're doing exactly what a craft distillery should do and has to do to
Yeah.
survive, which is experiment and try different things and release different things to keep people interested. And
Yeah.
it's a cool distillery and a kind of like a place where you almost forget that it's there, but it is a fantastic place to visit.
Yeah. If you haven't done a tour, you must.
Mhm.
You must.
Okay, back to number 4, one of the bottles that didn't get much love, at least in the votes, but
I just tried to kill my nose.
it's along with those lime and lemon jujube notes, it's got a little bit of chive or green onion, like right out of the garden right now for me. Or leeks. Teresa's guessing Dad's Hat. Corey and Jess are saying 3 is their fave. That's cool. Jay's thinking it's a rye
Mhm.
that we just got recently that nobody else has. Well, so the unfortunate
We
thing
don't
on
even
that
have it.
is, yeah, we don't have it either. The last bottle sold. I've emailed to see if we can get more, but I'm not holding my breath. This is actually the second time we've seen this release in the last 2 years, and hopefully we'll see more further releases. If you guys like it though, there might be another bottle stylistically that's worth looking at. Oh, Jay,
Oh, did you peek?
that is a beautiful guess there, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is New Riff Distillery, one that we're typically happy to put in a blinded lineup. We've featured New Riff a few times, and for good reason, because they make some fantastic bourbon. But even better than that, they make some fantastic rye. Probably one of the best craft ryes in the US. I would put them and Woody Creek as 2 of my favorites for smaller producers.
I agree.
Yeah. So they do typically a 95% unmalted, 5% malted rye mash bill. And this is that mash bill, but using only Balboa Rye, if I remember correctly, or Balboa Rye, which is an heirloom rye where they source it from a specific farm that's growing it. All their ryes are fantastic. Their bourbons are great too, but the Balboa Rye, when you get a chance to try it, is always fun to try. Cool thing about New Riff too is they have a big focus on the ball and bond idea, or law, I guess. When it is a consumer law that was founded in 1897 when it was launched or became law. So it has to be bottled at 50% alcohol. Can't be bottled higher or lower than that. Has to be at least 4 years old by the bottled and bond regulations as well. And like everything else in the lineup, it is a really good rye. So like I said, it is sold out. There is a 6-year-old malted rye that we did get in from them as well, though. That's a little, I think it's $20 less than this one. Haven't had a chance to try it yet, but considering how good the rest of their lineup is.
I think I have a bottle in the office that I paid for.
Nice.
Open it.
Well, you'll maybe have to give your comments on it at the end of the tasting, because I'm curious about that one too, and why you didn't crack it and share it when you bought it at work.
Well, because it was impulsive and I didn't want Tony to know. So I like New Riff Rye. I can't afford to buy all of them.
Yep.
But I
Yeah,
wanted
that is
to try the malted rye because it's not very often that goes into the process. And the label is awesome.
Yeah, their bottles style with the black going into clear is, I'm not usually a bottle look guy, but those are some sexy bottles. Then this is a picture there of the malted rye and a picture of their distillery and the still and the distillery, a really tall column still that they have there.
Very cool.
Mhm. Mm. Okay, to number 5. This one's going into like musty, dusty corn and Elmer's glue on the nose for me.
Hmm.
Like almost into like paper mache territory on the nose.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a wet cardboard, but not like a wet glue on cardboard. So yeah, paper mache is good. There's still this undertone of like dried fruit and some, I don't know, wet leaves of some kind.
Hmm. Yeah, wet leaves, I agree. Teresa's saying maybe weeder, but it has a spicy element. Adam, did you mean that number 5 tastes similar to number 4? This is pretty understated considering the alcohol level for me. It's almost like number 1 where it's like, oh, the alcohol's that high? I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that.
Yeah.
Corey and Jess say well-rounded for this one. No, let's do the reveal. This was one where we've been trying to find a reason to try it for a while.
We think Evan's frozen.
Yeah, I think I might have dropped there for a sec, but what were you
You're
saying
back.
there, Harmony?
Oh, I said that we showed a product by this distillery in our last tasting.
Yeah, and we've done some of their higher end bottle ones as well. So this is from Kentucky Owl, which does not yet have a distillery, but they are working on that. Kentucky Owl is a revived brand that was around in the late 1800s, went defunct, and then was revived. I can't remember by the gentleman's name, but by the great grandson or great grandson of the original brand owner back in the early 2000s. Started releasing some Kentucky Owl, and it was relatively expensive stuff, but really well put together. They do have some more expensive bottles called like Confiscated, and they've done an Irish edition, a Japanese edition, and stuff like that, that tend to be like $180 plus for most of their bottles. But the Wiseman range, they have a bourbon and this rye that are more around that $75, $80 price range. This guy's 50.4% alcohol, 95% rye mash bill. Does say Kentucky straight rye whiskey, so that's not Indiana MGP rye again, which is surprising. But they don't say what the source is. If you look at the label, and I'll show a bit more about this on the next slide, but these pyramids here are actually what their distillery that they're planning to build is supposed to look like.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I like their label. It's very cool.
Yeah. So this is where they're planning on building. This is an area that used to be a quarry right outside of Bardstown, Kentucky, a good place to be if you're building a bourbon distillery. They have already spent a lot of money on sort of reviving and revitalizing the area first. This being a quarry, they've I think filled it with water, made it a bit more of a wetlands area. And the plan is to build the distillery on the site and sort of preserve the look of the site at the same time. So really interesting concept by a company that has a lot of money behind it and seems to be willing to take its time to do it right. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah. My dog just keeps whining. I don't know why. She's laying next to me, but she's whining.
It would be interesting to try the Wiseman next to the Bradshaw rye that we had last time.
The Bradshaw, I think, had way more like licorice and
Yeah.
polish notes.
But they're both ryes where I wasn't expecting a whole lot, but they actually show quite nicely. I think I prefer the Bradshaw a bit more, but the Wiseman's still really well put together.
I think the Bradshaw's louder than
Mhm.
this one, so to speak, but
No, that's just Terry Bradshaw. He's a little bit loud, but
this would go great with a ginger beer, like an on tall glass
totally.
ginger beer. That's what I like.
okay, back to number 6. This is one of those bourbons that I've been very excited to turn people onto since I've tasted it.
Me too. This is super exciting. I don't know a lot about the distillery other than like
Yeah,
they're doing things different. And I like that. I like that they're not a revival
Yeah.
brand.
I mean, the name is a revival, but it's a revival of somebody that lived in the area. It's not a late revival of a bourbon name or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like also the label because why not?
Does anybody have any guesses before I put the slide up?
I would love to hear the guesses.
Yeah. It's a relatively wild mash bill. Only 55% corn, 35% rye, and 10% malt. And shockingly, this is only 50% alcohol, even though it's so big and robust in style.
Ooh la la. Look at
So
that.
this is called the Mattie Gladden straight bourbon whiskey. This is from a distillery called Spirits of French Lick. This is not a sourced bourbon or rye. This is their own whiskey. They are nearly grain to glass in style for being a craft distillery. They don't have their own fields, but they have very close relationships with the farmers that do own the fields. They try and get everything as local as possible. They're in Indiana, like MGP, but on a much smaller scale. And this is surprisingly too got at least a little bit of age to it. It's at least 4 years old. It is a bonded bourbon, so at least 4 years old, and has to be 50% alcohol. When I first tried this, it did not taste like 50. I thought it was much bigger than that.
Yeah. It's softened up quite a bit and it's showing very differently. Which is great because the first time I tried it, it was very oak driven.
Yeah.
And I knew there was something underneath it because we tried a sample of other Spirit of French Lick things, and I knew there was goodness to be had behind all the oak.
Yeah, and I can't remember what I think we asked and what their char level was, and I don't think it was said, but it might be into a number 4. It is pretty char driven, but they are using full size barrels. This isn't like a small barrel distillery where you're getting that big charred note. They have a pretty cool different lineup of things, and we'll have to try some of their other stuff and bring it in here and there too. But this one has sold fairly well for us quietly since we've gotten it in.
Yeah.
So small distillery with some very, very promising whiskey that is worth looking out for because it's big, it's bold, even at 50% alcohol, and nicely put together, and seems to have like a very bourbon DNA, but they're kind of dancing to the beat of their own drum at the same time. Very roasted in style.
Yeah, roasted's a great note because I was gonna say it's getting kind of nutty.
Yep.
It's nice to see a distillery coming up that wants to be their own and not a likeness to somebody else.
Yeah, so Jay says, and Teresa are agreeing. Teresa says, beautifully done, reminding me of Beam style. Jay agreeing with that, saying slightly peanutty bean flavor. Totally has that sort of starchy, nutty style.
Mhm.
You can see why you get the little bookers. Yeah, it does have that, and that I get that on Jim Beam all the time. This is more roasted than your typical Beam product, where they have that sort of like peanut skins and peanut shells note for me, but definitely has some of that starchy DNA to it. On to number 7. Couldn't remember if this one was number 7 or number 8 in our lineup. Now I remember.
It's definitely 7. You can, oh, it's okay. Cherries. I get it.
It's got a little bit of almost like Mexican chocolate notes, like a spicy chocolate.
Spicy chocolate, yeah.
Yeah. Or into like a more savory or like salty chocolate mousse.
Okay, I was gonna say like a hot chocolate. I know that's weird.
Yeah, hot chocolate's a good
Hot
call.
chocolate though. Marnie, how are your eyeballs? They still good?
You're good. Bye.
Any guesses on this one?
No Eugene in this lineup, which is interesting
Yeah.
because I know he would know.
Yep. I didn't realize that we put it at 7 too, because that's totally apropos to the name.
Ruth, that's a good guess. I think
Yeah,
it's
very
not
good
right,
guess,
but
Ruth.
it's good. It's
Yep.
what I thought it was.
Yep.
Yeah, just I love rye. I love that it's so different from bourbon. I
Mhm.
love that Cam has come around to bourbon
Totally.
since moving away from Kensington Wine Market.
That's right. He just had to get away from us and get some perspective is what he needed, I guess. He was like, oh yeah, they were right. It just took him a while.
Tastes different.
Yeah. This definitely has the big spice notes coming from the French oak, which make you think rye. So this is Lucky 7, the Frenchman. The first Lucky 7 bottle we put in a tasting, but they seem to be very good at sourcing bourbon. They're not a distillery. They do source mature bourbon from elsewhere and then often finish it in different casks, including French oak, which this one is. And the other nice thing is they keep the proof up on most of them. So this is 56.5% alcohol.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, like it's big, but it doesn't show as big as the last one necessarily, which was lower ABV.
I love the labels. I love the little ticket on the label. It's like I want to heat it off and keep it.
Yep.
It's my admit one that I had it. The whole cinema theme is adorable.
Yeah.
I'm not saying sneak it into the theater. I'm not saying sneak it into a theater, but
yeah, that's on you if you get caught, I guess is what it comes down to. Yeah.
Oh, this is fantastic. I'm really glad that we that it opened up and we put it in the lineup, because the first time it was so spicy with those cinnamon hearts and that oak spice. I was afraid that like that's all it had to offer was spice.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those bottles where you hear people talking about the neck pour versus the rest of the bottle, and it needs to be opened up. You pour a dram and then you come back to it after a couple weeks or even a month.
Yeah.
After the oxygen has kind of mingled a bit. So we've got a little bit of that one left, I believe. I think we also have the lucky number 7 holiday toast.
Yeah.
And we might be seeing some more lucky 7 stuff in the future. We'll have to see how they sell. But I really like the fact that even though they're sourcing, they're keeping it at high proof.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I'm glad we've discovered this lucky 7. We might have to open a bottle of that holiday toast and let it breathe, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, on to number 8.
Teresa, you just said it's a coin flip between three. The coin has two sides, honey. You're gonna have to narrow it down.
Hey, what if it lands right in the middle? Yeah, like,
Oh man, I
Yeah.
hope she gets it on film because that'd be a great Instagram
that
post.
just means you have to buy all three.
That's okay. We could put it on her next tasting bill. We'll just pay her in whiskey
That's
direct.
right.
Number 8 is like cucumber melon again. Did we say that the first time?
Somebody did, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is completely that.
It's not entirely what I expected, I will say.
Oh, and there's a hint of Sharpie still in there. Or like iodine, not in a bad way.
Iodine's a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going into like if you bartended and used the glass washer that had used the iodine detergent in it,
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
I think the
Is there-
palate is better than the nose on this one.
I like the nose. I mean, it's changed a lot, but I like weird things. I'm weird.
So any guesses on this one before we reveal? This might give a bit away, but
Oh man.
I believe this noses very differently than the last 3 batches from what I recall.
Yeah, it was like Sharpie and then iodine and then bubble gum and then spices. Now I'm getting like fruit.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, Jay, you might be onto something again.
Past strength 63. Jason.
There you go.
Teresa, if you're saying that without knowing anything, that's awesome.
But you're wrong. It's 63.5.
Yeah, so close, but you didn't win.
No, it's very good.
Mhm.
Very well done. Oh, did Corey know something or did Jess know something that Corey didn't know? What's going on there? There was an internal home battle happening.
Is this bottle causing divorce right before our eyes?
No,
Hopefully not.
This is love at first sight happening.
Nice.
I didn't want to like it, but I do. Damn
This
the
is
review.
opening up the marriage to include another bottle.
Right. This is I have it and I knew it.
Oh, nice, nice. So is that batch 4 that you have there, Corey and Jess?
63.5%. Yep.
Nice.
Right.
So this is I've had batch numbers 1, 2, and 3. This is my first time personally having batch 4. It's really good. I do think 1 and 2 might be just slightly better than the rest, but I haven't revisited them, so I definitely haven't tried them side by side. I could be looking at those ones through rose tinted glasses at this point.
Oh, we totally messed up. We should have been keeping batches of this aside.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
'Cause
I think I have a little bit of batch 2 here. I don't think I have any batch 1.
I drank probably a case and a half of batch 1 before it won the award.
Yeah. Oh God. That one is, I was so excited when I heard about that. I remember hearing about it, and Andrew and I were in Scotland at the time, and I did the web info up for it. And then I got back and we got a bottle in and I tried it. I was like, holy shit, this is exactly what I wanted it to be.
Was this before the award or after?
Oh yeah, this is, and I even put in my tasting notes for it. This is gonna win awards
Oh,
at the time. But yeah,
I remember.
I wish it didn't now because
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
batch 4 at least we still have some, which is good, and maybe we can even get more. I haven't even asked the agent, but batch 4 didn't fly off the shelves the way 1, 2, and 3 did. That's for sure.
Yeah, we could probably get more. I know where the agent lives. I'll find
Yeah,
them.
and hopefully, given the time of year it is, maybe batch 5 is coming out soon. That'd be cool.
I would think so.
Mhm.
Yeah. I remember like bringing batch 1 to my friend's house and she being completely offended and revolted that I would offer her something this high in alcohol. And so I went across the street from her house and bought a 20-year-old, and we blended it in a plastic juice jug, the 20 in the batch one, and then poured it back in the bottles. And I was like, this has to be better. And it was like, for her, I didn't care. They were cheap at the time.
I am still, and maybe I'll have to revisit it to see if my thoughts have changed, but I was disappointed by the 20. I remember buying the 25 and the 30 like a decade plus ago, and them being so good for being 40% alcohol. The 20 was just missing something. It was too thin and too wine driven for me.
It was, absolutely. It didn't impress me, but I didn't want to kill the 65. And it was like, oh, well, I mean, it's the same product.
You definitely made the 20-year-old better. That's for sure.
It did. And she just made fun of me and was like, this is so bad. I don't even like whiskey. I'm like, we are drinking it.
Yep.
Yeah, this is what I brought. Just drink it. It's good. Yeah. Oh, that's tasty.
Yep. I still think the batch 4, the nose just doesn't show as well for me as the previous batches, but the palate is bang on. Personally, what were you going to say there, Marnie?
This is my unabashed favorite, based on, I mean, it went in hot, but the finish is just gorgeous on this. Yeah.
This is everything about why Alberta distillers needs to stop selling to other people and bottle their own stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, let's thank you for saying that too, Marnie.
Then 7. Oh, it is soy sauce. I don't like it. It's so salty.
Which one soy sauce?
If you drink 8 and then drink 7, it will hurt you. Corey, mean. It becomes so
maybe it's because I watered mine down with a few drops, but it's not painful for me.
I don't like it.
So Marnie reminded me the reveal favorites poll is up if you guys are interested in taking part in that. Marnie, beyond number 8, what was your second favorite there?
Let me just jotted it down. Number 7, actually. Yep. 8
cool.
Yeah.
And Marnie, how about you?
That was Marnie.
That was me. You mean Harmony?
Pardon me, Harmony.
No,
Harmony,
Marnie, give it to us again. What is your other half?
All the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't add water to any of them, and I'm feeling them very much.
Cam says 8 and 6 for him.
Thanks, Cam. It's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6 was great, actually.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah, it's like earthy and musty, but there's this authenticity to it that I really enjoy.
When I first tasted 6, I'm like, okay, this is without a doubt going to be my favorite. But then 7 and 8 came along.
Yeah,
I still can't believe. I can't believe number 6 is 50%. Like it tastes like it should be higher, in my opinion.
No, I like them.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna turn away. I gotta break it down. Break it down. I really liked 7. Maybe 7 and 3 tonight.
Cool.
Are speaking to me. I also liked 6. 6, 7, 3.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, we've got 16 of 17 have voted, so I'll share these.
3 was quite delicate.
Yeah.
I like it.
Lots of votes for number 1 now, which is really cool with the revisit there.
Nice.
Yeah, Casey Jones is, like I said, that's a distillery to keep an eye on. We've tried 4 different bottlings from them, and they've all been great. It'd be a cool distillery to hopefully we can maybe get a single cast from them in the future, because I would love to pick something from them. Lots of votes for number 2 as well, for both first and second place for the Blanton's Gold. 3 is no slouch for the Bridgeland, which is cool to see. lots of second place votes on that one. And 4 and 5 again just don't show up to the game, probably because they are the more rye heavy ryes in the lineup, except for number 8, which ran away with everything at the end.
Which is awesome. Like
Yep.
Alberta proud right here in a glass, you know?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Alberta Premium Cask Strength is the best bourbon out there.
We've never heard that before. Made here in Calgary. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
also,
I
Evan,
love putting rye in this kind of tasting just because it's fun to have the curveball, and rye can be so many different things, just like bourbon can be so many different things.
Yeah.
So it's fun to toss them in, and I thought it was really cool to see how good that Bridgeland shows too. The nose on that Bridgeland is just gorgeous. So I think that's going to be my second place, and I'm going to pick number 6 as my first. I really like the Mattie Gladden there.
yeah, the Mattie's been great. And I've been happy that it seems to be undiscovered. I'm not happy about that, but I'm happy that it's undiscovered in a way that it makes it accessible and it makes it exciting, and we're still able to receive product from them, you know. We don't have to fight anyone for it because they don't know how good it is.
That's right. So Teresa's saying there's a difference between Western and Eastern rye, which I've never thought about. It's almost like the IPA battle between West Coast and East Coast there. Teresa, this might be something you can answer better than I can, and maybe Harmony as well. Does Alberta Premium do tours now? They do have like some sort of tasting room or something on site now, don't they?
They have a little bit of a tasting room, but they're not doing tours. And I believe it still works into the fact that
it's a hard hat, hard toed boots area.
Yeah, exactly.
From what I recall. Yeah. I was in there about 8 years ago for a tour, and I did, not that I'm super tall, I'm 5'11.5", just shy of 6 feet, but that hard hat was needed because I was definitely banging my head on pipes on the way through. But if you can get in, it's cool to see. It's definitely very industrial, but it's impressive and very exciting for me to understand and realize that some of the best rye whiskey in the world is made right here in Calgary, and has been for 75 years now, which is neat as well. Something that unfortunately the company that owns Alberta Premium hasn't done a tremendous job at showcasing, but hopefully that is going to be slowly changing with time now that they have the semi-regular editions of the Alberta Premium Cask Strength. But they could do so much more to elevate and showcase that distillery than they have been. So hopefully they keep on pushing more of that out and pushing it in people's faces more, because it deserves to be there.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are, I just emailed the agent to find out if they are doing tours and what it might take to get involved with the tours. So along with emailing me your interest in a potential Blanton's bottle, email me if you're interested in an ADL tour. And if it is a thing, I will let you know, and we can go as a group.
Yeah. I know when I was in there 8 years ago, the only reason I got in there was because I was with a whiskey group it was Davin DeCurgamo that made it all happen. But
Davin is a wizard.
Yeah, I know they do more like tours for people within Beam Suntory and stuff like that. And if you are sort of in the industry, there might be an in, but it'd be nice if I know that it's hard to do tours just because it is a very industrial place, but it's another reason why I think they should open up like a micro distillery somewhere just so they can showcase what they do.
Oh yeah, and from what I've heard, speaking with agents and reps and affiliates of the ADL, they know, they've heard it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it hasn't happened, but every time you start talking about it, they roll their eyes like, oh, we know we need to build a little, like ADL train car experience
Yeah. My
Oh,
answer to that rolling your eyes and saying we know is, but you haven't.
yes, like
So
you
I'm
have,
going to keep
so
on bothering you about it.
a million people have said it's a good idea, yet
Yeah.
here we are today.
That's right.
Very cool. I put my
Yeah,
email in the
well,
chat, everyone. If you're interested in anything, please email me. Don't text me and say you want it on this chat, because I have had 8 cask strength whiskeys tonight and no dinner. I will not remember.
Yeah.
So please email me.
these are the sacrifices that Harmony does for us. So
Yeah,
keep that
you're
in mind.
welcome. My dog
Yeah.
is crying behind
Yeah.
me.
Well, I got to wrap it up too, but thank you, Harmony, for joining me on this trip. As you usually do on the bourbon side of things, it's always fun to do these. Marnie, thanks for joining in as well. It's been awesome to get your comments along the way and put up with our BS. So hopefully you continue to do so. Thank you all for putting up with our collective BS and letting us do these blinded by bourbon tastings almost once every 3 or 4 months. It's something that I want to keep up because they're always fun.
Yeah.
If you guys have any other thoughts or ideas on how you want to see a bourbon tasting done, let Harmony and myself know by email or in person. We're always open to doing some other ideas, but we will probably keep on doing this whether you like it or not when it comes down to it, because we love the bourbon.
Guaranteed. I have like, what do I have, like 3 boxes of bourbon set aside for future things. Like, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, the shelf behind, well, sorry, the shelf behind me there is probably about 25% bourbon and growing for me. So
Yeah, my
Scotch
bourbon
is my
doesn't
first
last.
love, but I've made room for bourbon as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
And bourbon was my first love, so there you go.
there you go.
As a wine sommelier, that's heavy. That's heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to find something to drink after those tests is what it comes down to.
No, thanks for joining us, Marnie. I'm so glad you did.
Yeah.
I enjoy sharing my whiskey likes and loves with you on a weekly basis, and sour beer as well.
Yeah.
It's great.
Very, very fortunate to work with both you and Evan and the rest of the crew. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Stick around for a little bit if anyone wants to stick around.
Oh, totally.
I'll
Yeah,
hang out.
Harmony,
Tony's
I
at
got to
the
run,
gym.
but I'll leave it to you then.
Okay.
we're gonna go have some dinner. So
Yeah.
ciao everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Take care.